This is the DJV Download. I'm Doug.
I'm Jen.
And I'm Victoria.
This podcast made possible in part by Calitrin, the safe way to lose weight, Prevagen, keeping your brain healthy, and MyPillow, guaranteed the most comfortable pillow you'll ever own.
Another opportunity for the ladies to take advantage of me and my good nature. That is what you found here in this hour of the DJV program. Friday, February the 4th. Not really a full week, but full, well, the week's been full of all kinds of things, and we'll talk about a lot of them as usual here in the event department, the issues of the day, people that folks are talking about as we get into the end of the week, the Friday fun times that so many people look forward to. I'm Doug Steffen, by the way. Jennifer Horn is here with me. Victoria Keelan. Jay's been off this week, and we now start with this the hoopla about the ISIS leader who blew himself up. It isn't that he wanted to blow himself up, apparently, but was he thinking, well, who knows what he was thinking. He's dead, so you can't ask him any questions. But apparently the administration came up with a plan to get rid of, let's see if I can pronounce this, Abu, yeah. So should I even bother? Who cares what his name is?
Yeah. I tried. I did it a few times on the air.
Abu
what was really
Ibrahim
weird?
al-Hashimi. What was al-Qasangi? Okay, go ahead. What's weird? What is weird? It's weird that he blew himself up.
No, it's not. They all do.
No.
That's not unusual. When you have these types of people who are terrorists and thinking that they're operating, for glory and for martyrdom, it's actually not unusual when they're faced with adversity for them to blow themselves up. What's just terrible is that they decide to take their whole families with them, but they don't care because they have a different motivation. So then they just blow everything up. And I think Biden made a good point when he was talking about how he said, we tried to go in, we send it instead of just blowing him up with a bomb, which would be really easy, just dropping air support down. We went in because we wanted to avoid human casualties, wanted to take him out, no one else. And so we did that with our special forces team, and then they blow everybody up anyway. So that's kind of how it works with these extremists. But what was really weird, and I don't know if you guys caught this, we were listening, I was live on the air on my LA show. And when we started the program, we started it with the breaking news, and I struggled through trying to say his name. Biden called him something else in his speech.
Al, Big Al.
No, it was just two words, and I can't even remember what he said,
Mazursky.
But it was way different than what I had tried to struggle through. And so we're trying to figure it out. I don't know if that was his nickname or what. I don't know. I don't know how he got away with him saying something a lot easier than I'm struggling through an 8-word name, basically. Crazy.
Yeah, he got a long name. But
these business cards for ISIS, they're like an 8x10 instead of a business
postcard. So what motivated this at this time? Just that he was in a place that we knew how to find him? This is like cutting off the head of the snake, but then there's the snake head grows back again. There's somebody next door who wants to be the leader of ISIS, so on and on it goes. I can't tell. How many times have we killed the leader of ISIS?
Well, and that was a big thing. Right? This was the predecessor to al-Baghdadi, and that was the one that was taken out during Trump's presidency, and that was huge because that guy had been all over the place. This guy, ISIS, was really taken out and kind of leveled under Trump, but they build back every single time, and so this had been kind of that new leader. And so, if you have intelligence that you know how to get him, of course you should. Why why not?
Well, see you later, alligator, to him anyway. Thought it was interesting that Jeff Bezos, you pronounce it Bezos or Bezos, ladies?
It's Bezos.
Bezos.
No, it is Bezos.
It is? Okay.
Yeah, it's not up for debate.
Well, I really don't care because most of the time people know who I'm talking about anyway. I'm not really worried about offending him.
I know, but getting someone's name right is pretty basic.
Yeah, okay. Victoria Keelan.
You would not like it if we called you Doug Stefan.
I get called...
or Stephen.
I
get called Stephen Dudley all the time.
Right. And it's not fun.
I straighten people out. So I'll get a call from Bezos, and he'll tell me it's Bezos, and we'll call the whole thing off. At any rate, he's going to... There's a city that in Holland where he has had a boat built for himself. And apparently the boat is so big, it's Rotterdam. What'd I say? I don't know, whatever.
Wait, hold on. How big is it?
It's big. It's so big. It's so big, Jennifer, that they have to dismantle a bridge to get the yacht out of port. So one would wonder why he didn't have it built. I guess you could wonder a whole bunch of things. But anyway, they're taking down a bridge so he can get his yacht out. Apparently, they call it a super yacht, whatever that means. Okay, congratulations, Jeff. What's his name?
Yeah.
Bezos. Okay. The Native American tribes that have reached settlements over the toll of those opioids, 590 million with Johnson & Johnson, and also the three largest drug distribution companies. So this is an interesting backgrounder. Did we talk about this before when it was sort of going on now that they've got a settlement? I'm trying to remember. There have been so many of these opioid trials, and so one would wonder if this is something that's bigger than what happened before. There are a lot of other firms that are involved in this, because Johnson & Johnson is not the only one that makes opioids, right?
Right. Maybe what you're thinking of is the makers of OxyContin, that Sackler family.
Yeah. Okay.
They've been in and out of the news, and the judge. The most recent thing on them is that they are not. Essentially, the judge ruled that they're not allowed to hide behind bankruptcy because the whole family, they were just taking money in massive quantities out of the company all during the pandemic, and because they knew that they were going to get hit with this massive settlement, so the company or the family who runs it made sure that they were all okay, and then they all tried to declare bankruptcy, and so the judge was like, no, you can't do that, not when you've got a settlement of this size.
You know what this calls attention to, in my thinking, when you look at all these drug companies and all these prescriptions, the collusion that is, I think, a part of this with doctors, whether they used to get paid a hefty fee, or they would get paid off with something that's payola, just like it exists in other businesses back in the days in the 60s when payola ran radio right out of business almost. The idea that these companies would be able to get away with this and still have enough money to exist shows you how much money they are making and the influence that they have. Maybe you don't have to go any further than the nightly television, or it isn't even nightly. You watch any kind of television anywhere that is advertising driven, and at least one spot in every spot set is and I say this over and over again because it's startling. It's becoming more startling. Yeah. So what does that mean we're doing to ourselves? I was talking to somebody who's a lecturer yesterday, and there was it came about as a result of some interview that I saw on Bloomberg over in Beijing with a woman who was on there being grilled as to the Chinese influence in the world. This woman is a professor at a California college. She's a native Chinese person, and she spent all of her time. That's what made me stop on it, because I was watching, and I thought she was somebody from the Chinese government, but she wasn't. She's an American who teaches Asian studies, and I want to say it's some university in San Francisco, but I can't remember her credentials. But at any rate, she talked so glowingly about what a fabulous place China is, what a fabulous thing it is for them to be having the Olympics in Beijing. They were the only ones, according to her, who had what it took to be able to put this all together. The glory of China, basically, is what she was talking about. It made me sick to my stomach to think that this kind of stuff is being taught in American universities. And then there was another fellow there that was, I think he was a Bloomberg reporter, but he was talking about how the Uyghur population, so the guy who was doing the interview went right to this Asian professor and said, well, so tell us about the Uyghur thing. Yeah. Oh, no, that's just a training camp. And
wow.
And
training
people
camp.
Who's swallowing this garbage? That's kind of what I want to know.
They are, clearly.
Yeah, well, but the other side of it is that, she's talking about what a paradise it is in China and how wonderful it is to be, from Chinese ancestry. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so what are you doing here? She's here to indoctrinate people like they've planted folks all over the place. pretty much the same way the Nazis did when they were trying to get people to believe that Nazism was fabulous all over Europe. They had plants, and we are finding. It takes my breath away to think about how orchestrated and organized this continuing plot is by the Chinese to take away what we have here, basically. And she was talking about how China is working around the world to help people everywhere. It's the most progressive society.
Oh,
look at what they're doing in New Zealand. Look at what. Yeah. I wish I could remember her name. You could look her up.
This is exactly like the argument that I got into with this account that I was following on Instagram. And, it's one of those accounts that, like, you don't know who it is. It's not like a specific person. And when I challenged some of the stuff that they were saying about how, wonderful China is and that China has only had 4,000 deaths from COVID. Hello. That was like, I was like, wait, what are you saying? And then this person literally started attacking me. And I was like, okay, this is like some serious Chinese propaganda going on here. And it was under the guise of Black Lives Matter. It was an account that was, that had posted a lot of pro Black Lives Matter stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is completely a Chinese propaganda account trying to lure people in from the left. It was crazy. But this is the kind of stuff that's happening everywhere.
Well, so is that why I got canceled by the guy who's Chinese that owned that company that said I was a racist? I'm beginning to think that may have been played into some of it. Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, you never know. But I think at the time a lot of people were sensitive about warning.
Think about when Trump would call it China virus. People went nuts, and so because you said something Trump said,
because I did,
God forbid.
Right? Exactly. Right. I'm the outcast at Poker Flats, as it were. Coming up, a lot of conversation. There's an interesting bit about the mayor of New York. Floating around that we probably ought to talk about a little bit. A lot of things going on, as usual. All right, so Susan Sarandon, ladies, has made a comment that hasn't gone over too well, tweeting this comparison of the funeral of the New York City police officer to fascism. She's always been known as a really lunatical lefty. And I don't know whether that has...
She thinks Bernie Sanders is like a conservative. So, just to give some context in case you're not aware of Susan Sarandon's politics. Yeah. But this was really outrageous. This happened in New York City. Mayor Adams was there. This was for Officer Jason Rivera. He was shot and killed, while responding to a domestic violence call in Harlem. And this guy who claims to be an independent journalist posted a picture of thousands of police officers lining Fifth Avenue outside St. Patrick's Cathedral, where this funeral was held for this 22-year-old officer. And this independent journalist wrote, "I'm going to tell my kids this is what fascism looks like." And so Susan Sarandon retweeted that and then added, "If all these cops weren't needed for crime that day, doesn't that mean they aren't needed any day?" And then she wrote #abolish the police. A lot of people, a lot of people noted, and as you can imagine, this did not go over well with most people. A lot of people noted that the majority of the officers there paying their respects were off duty. And the other, it's just, I don't know what.
It's just gross.
What do you gain? Yeah, what do you gain from this? And the other thing that's really strange is that she is currently filming a show, a country music show that's going to be on Fox. And it's called Monarch or something like that. And her co-star is your boy, Trace Adkins.
I know.
Who could not be more to the right. How are the two of them, and they play husband and wife, I am interested.
I'm sure they probably hate each other on the show. It seems like there's
must,
like a lot.
Right? Yeah, that's some interesting casting right there.
She's a piece of dirt. And by the way, with that, does she get thrown off of the movie? Because she said that, like Whoopi Goldberg got thrown off of the TV show for 2 weeks. What is her?
Or off of Twitter?
The consequence?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Well, abolish the police isn't. I mean, she's not saying anything specific about race or a certain group of people, so I don't know.
All right, Bill Nye is going Nye. I guess that's but no, it's pronounced Nye. One of my favorite British actors because he's such a character. He's going to play David Bowie.
No, he's playing the same role that David Bowie played in a movie.
The Man Who Fell to Earth.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is a movie you would probably love.
Yeah. Yes.
It became like a cult classic.
Yeah. And he's going to star with a fellow whose name I never can pronounce, speaking about...
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah, him too.
Yeah.
All right.
Also from Love Actually.
Nice try.
Yes.
He's the
Thank
husband.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keira Knightley's husband.
Somebody asked me the other day how he could lose his belly fat.
Calitrin targets all over body fat. You know, of course, belly fat tends to be where everybody carries it, but Calitrin just really gives your body back what it needs. So it revs up your metabolism naturally, and you burn off those fats and sugars the way that your body wants to. So you do lose the belly fat along with just all over toning too.
So does Calitrin work best with a diet, with an exercise program?
Well, you know, we have people that have had success with it both ways. Obviously, if you're eating better, you know, eating in moderation, staying away from the sugars and the sodas, you know, you're going to see results faster than if you're just taking it by itself. But our 90-day program, that huge 86% success rate that we have, that's just with taking Calitrin alone. So check it out on our website, toploss.com. All the information is at toploss.com. That's TOPLOSS.com, or call us 1-833-TOP-LOSS.
And use the DJV code for all these specials when you check out. This is the DJV Download. I'm Doug.
I'm Jen.
And I'm Victoria.
This podcast made possible in part by Calitrin, the safe way to lose weight, Prevagen, keeping your brain healthy, and MyPillow, guaranteed the most comfortable pillow you'll ever own.